Maybe Jerry Jones could use a private investigator. I don't know if Thomas Magnum is still available. I don't know if he's still out there doing the thing or not, but oh man, we may need to get to the mystery of why Cowboys fans are so disappointed with the idea that we now know that it's being reported that Brian Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator, is perhaps in line to become the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And Thomas Magnum could probably turn up some rocks and find a better coach, perhaps. Look, nothing against Brian Schottenheimer. He's Marty's boy. So he's got football in his blood. He's been around the NFL for many, many years as an assistant coach. In fact, if you take a look here at this tweet by Roger Sherman, you can see Brian Schottenheimer's resume with footnotes, helpful footnotes, indicating why each stop had its warts, I suppose. Look, Cowboys fans are a frustrated bunch. The Cowboys now have a longer time that has elapsed since they've been to the NFC Championship game than any team in the entire conference. And it's by a period of a lot of years. 30 years since the last Super Bowl championship team, which was the 1995 season with Barry Switzer, with Jimmy Johnson's leftovers. They were able to get one more. Deion Sanders, you get all excited. Prime time, prime time. Coach Sanders coming in, Neon Deion. There's a lot of fans in Dallas that you know they want it. They want it so badly they can taste it. And then Jerry Jones says, Brian Schottenheimer, I believe, be a good fit for the Dallas Cowboys organization. Brian, he's a great offensive mind. He knows the organization. And you can just feel the air coming out of the balloon all around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I don't know, Jerry. I remember, back in the day when athletes played for the love of the game. I don't want to name any names, but I'm going to name a name of a scrappy young kid who in Cave City, Kentucky was leaving it all on the field. Take a look at that young man. I'm being told that is a young Ricky Cobb right there. Second baseman for the Blue Jays in the Caverna Little League. Chris Hay at shortstop. His dad, the great Paul David Hay, coaching the team. I was a solid player there. My glove was bigger than me, you may notice. And the way that photo's cropped, you can't tell it, but my uniform's dirty. If you could see the full shot below the knees there, I got some dirt on that uniform. I was out there scrapping. Let me tell you that right now. But that glove, look at that. Good Lord, I don't know how I was able to lift my arm with that thing on, much less field a ball successfully and make a play. People were asking me about that glove yesterday on X when I made that tweet, and I said, hey, that's still my glove. And I went into my closet and pulled it out and took a picture of it. Me and Cesar Cedeno, that was the signature. And if you're old enough, the signature inside was everything. You had the right player's name in there, you were going to make more good plays. We all just knew that. And so that's been my glove for about 43 years now. And when I play catch with my daughters now and again, me and Cesar, we're still a pretty good tandem. But not every athlete plays the game for the love. It becomes a business. I never made a dime playing second base for the Blue Jays. But pro athletes make a lot of money, and yet they seem more unhappy than the kids who played for free. And I'm not naming anybody, but I'm talking to you, Jimmy Butler, down in Miami. Jimmy Butler now suspended for the second time this season by Pat Riley and the Miami Heat for insubordination and conduct detrimental to the team. Jimmy Butler, the franchise player, wants out. He's not getting the contract situation that he's looking for, and so he wants out of town, and he's trying to force the Heat's hand into doing that by, it seems pretty clearly, not giving his best effort and not adhering to any sort of responsible, amount of being a teammate. Shaquille O'Neal and the guys on the inside the NBA were talking about this, and Shaq is catching a little bit of heat because he defended Jimmy Butler. So let's go to the tape and listen to Shaq defending the indefensible, some might say.
Jimmy Butler makes $50 million a
He
year.
want more, so what?
He ain't getting more.
Okay, so guess what? You don't want me, I don't want to be here.
Okay, well then, but you can't just not show up to work.
Why not?
Because you took the other two. You took the 50 for this year and next year.
Okay.
So you're saying you took those two, but you not because you don't get two more?
Doesn't matter.
You could ask for a trade, but you got to show
Human
up.
nature. You don't want me, I don't want to be here.
Kenny Smith saying you can't just not show up for work. Shaq said, why not? I don't know. I want more money, so I'm not going to show up to work. That's not going to work out very well for most of us. And most of us are making a lot less than $50 million a year, or whatever it is that Jimmy Butler is making. That's what Charles Barkley said. I'll take his word for it. Look, Jimmy Butler's going to make more money this year than you or I are going to make in our entire lifetime. And he still can't be compelled to go to work. I don't have a lot of sympathy for it, especially not when I remember an era when we had guys in the NBA who were going out and playing the game with fucking neck braces on. This is Gerald Henderson of the Boston Celtics. Nobody had to tell this motherfucker to have an 82 game mentality. He wasn't aware of what load management was. He may be entitled to damages, and he's still out there giving you minutes. Let's grow a spine again. Jimmy Butler. Gerald Henderson in a front neck brace. He looked like Joan Cusack in what's the movie I'm thinking of? Help me. 16 Candles, with her neck brace on, walking around everywhere. And he's still out there playing. Can you imagine today? Joel Embiid, he wakes up, looks out the window. If he doesn't like the way the sun's shining in, he's out for the next 3 weeks. I don't even know, man. A lot of people on the left are still in a neck brace, trying to deal with the repercussions of November's election and Donald Trump being inaugurated for a second term. A lot of people freaking out, but some people are starting to wrap their minds around it and look at the reality of it. One of them is John Harris, the editor-in-chief of Politico. Politico, of course, no friend of Donald Trump. But take a look at this column from John Harris saying it's time to admit it. Trump is a great president. He's still trying to be a good one. And what he means by that is Trump is a historically consequential figure. And it cannot be denied. He is going to go down in history, and you can take a look here at what Harris says. I'll quote him directly. Trump is someone with an ability to perceive opportunities that most politicians do not and forge powerful, sustained connections with large swaths of people in ways that no contemporary can match. In other words, he is a force of history. They're going to be talking about Donald Trump in history books 100, 200 years from now, like it or not. What's the story going to... I don't know. The history's still being written, but this is like a Shakespearean play that we're watching unfold over the course of the last decade in this country. Trump coming onto the scene in 2015. He's going to run for president. Everybody's snickering and giggling. The guy from The Apprentice, Donald Trump, is going to run for president. This will be a fun sideshow for a month or two before he drops out. And then what you saw was one by one by one, like dominoes, the establishment Republicans fell from the wayside until everybody realized, well, wait a minute, he's got a real chance. Wait a minute, he's the nominee. I'll never forget in 2016, sitting in my living room in stunned disbelief when Donald Trump came out to give his victory speech. And I think he was a little surprised, to be honest with you. For all of his swagger, for all of his bombast, I don't know that Donald Trump expected to win in 2016, but he did. Went to Washington, had a term. We've all seen how it's played out. There's a lot of people that think that he's evil, but perhaps a lot of folks in this country are starting to wake up. Myself, Stephen A. Smith, you're seeing others. Maybe Mr. T, maybe he didn't really want to hurt Boy George. I don't think he really wanted to hurt Boy George. Do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry? Bow, 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 bow. Well, the Mr. T that we've got right now is Mr. Trump. And a lot of people are trying to figure out, how do you like this AI right here? I was farting around with AI this morning trying to make an A team with RFK, Trump, and Elon. Marco Rubio was supposed to be in there too. No, JD Vance. I tried to do JD Vance, but you know how AI is. If you fart around with this, there's JD Vance as a 12-year-old in that one. AI is so much fun. We're living in a strange time. We're in this little window where AI is not smart enough that it's taken over the world yet. We're still just a little smarter than it is, maybe. And I don't know. I like to play around with it. It probably won't be so funny when AI becomes our overlords in a short period of time. But I liked Elon's mohawk there. Maybe we could get that to Elon, and Elon might, he might get a mohawk at this point. He has no fucks to give at this juncture. He's been hit with all of these Nazi, Hitler, what I would argue are preposterous allegations. I had somebody on X yesterday say, fuck you for supporting a Nazi. And I just tweeted, I don't even know how to respond to that. I responded back with a gif of Marsha Brady from the Brady Bunch movie saying, sure, Jan. But if you think Elon Musk, he's laughing, he's making jokes about it. Elon just really doesn't give a fuck. And the CEO of JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, had some words to say about Elon. And, their personalities seem to be quite a bit different, but there's an interesting historical comparison that Jamie Dimon makes. Let's go to the videotape.
You got to look at Elon. SpaceX. Tesla. Neuralink. The guy is our Einstein, and so and I like to be helpful to him and his company as much as we can. I think it is completely rational for someone to look at our government and say it's been ineffective. We deserve good government. And I don't think anyone thinks sending another $1 trillion to Washington, D.C. will lend to good government. So government needs to be more accountable. It needs to be more efficient. It should be outcomes-based. I'd say department by department, so I wish them the best. It's going to be complicated. The federal government's complicated. You read about all the people in it. And so, if we could be helpful to them, and I'd love to be helpful to them.
The CEO of JP Morgan wants to be helpful to a Nazi, is what half of America thinks, but come on, man. Einstein? Actually, yes. I would say that Elon, he is the Einstein of our generation. We're talking about sending the United States to Mars. He's catching rockets with chopsticks. He's put together cyber trucks. The guy is solving all kinds of problems. I would argue to you that he saved free speech. If Elon Musk had not purchased X, I don't think that Donald Trump would have won the election, most likely. And I think that we would have seen free speech clamped down upon with vicious jaws, because the appetite for cancel culture and the appetite for suppressing dissenting views that we have seen from the left, and Mark Zuckerberg has talked about it, the pressure that went on Meta from the Biden administration, we know what we were dealing with. And Elon Musk, I would say, is a hero. I'd love to sit down with the guy and have a drink with him just to give him a thank you. Ichiro would like to sit down and have a drink, oddly enough, with the one Hall of Fame voter who didn't vote for him. Ichiro Suzuki coming up one vote short of unanimity. And I tweeted about it the other day, talking about how Hank Aaron, no player other than Mariano Rivera, has ever gone into the Hall of Fame unanimously. Derek Jeter missed it by one vote, and now Ichiro misses it by one vote. The further you go back in history, it's stupid looking at it now. 9 people didn't vote for Hank Aaron. 11 people didn't vote for Babe Ruth. 20 people didn't vote for Ted Williams. 23 people didn't vote for Willie Mays. Willie Mays is the closest thing to the platonic ideal of a baseball player that God has probably ever put on the earth. Greatest center fielder that there's ever been. And 23 motherfuckers looked at that and said, nope. And it wasn't because they didn't think he was a Hall of Famer. It's because they thought that going in on the first ballot, if Babe Ruth didn't go in on the first ballot, nobody deserves to go in on the first ballot. And that became a thing, that there were guardians of the Hall of Fame, that, nope, you're going to have to wait until your second year because in the early days, there were idiots who didn't vote for people. So we've kind of gotten past that now in our society. But the question is, who's the guy who didn't vote for him? He's anonymous. He's hiding. These votes should be made public. If the voters had to put their ballots out in the public, they could still do what they wanted to do, but then they would have to answer for it. And maybe a little bit of peer pressure is what a few of these people need. Let me go now to the international streaming star who joins me from Nashville, Tennessee, Ronnie T-shirts. Ichiro basically wants to have drinks with an asshole. Ronnie, who's the one asshole that you'd like to have a drink with?
You know what? Let me sit down with AOC and tell her what an asshole she is.
There you go. If you and AOC could sit down and have
Deal.
IPAs, it's got to be IPAs though.
Okay.
Ron. You and AOC choking down. What was that you had?
Voodoo Ranger.
Demon Venom.
Voodoo Ranger.
Okay, Voodoo Ranger. All right, yeah. If you and AOC could throw back some Voodoo Rangers, you could explain to her that she's made the Heil Hitler and didn't mean it. So, it's a nothing burger. We are the world. Let's all join together. You guys might be able to save American society, Ron. But in the meantime, I'm going to try to contribute what I can to American society because it's Championship Friday for America's Poll of the Day. And let's go to it now, shall we? At Super 70 Sports on X, where the Eagle is screaming by with the 4 champions from Monday through Thursday. And let's take a look and review and see what they are. Monday's champion was Reese's Cups. And we're going to define that as any type of Reese's Cup that you like. Maybe you like the Reese's Pieces in there. Maybe you like the traditional cup that you've been enjoying since you were a child. Pick whichever one is your favorite. That is your candidate. Tuesday's winner was the Muppet Show. Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy. We know that roster. It was elite. A lot of Hall of Famers there with hands up their asses. Freshly Mowed Lawns was Wednesday's winner. Shout out to Dustin Fink, the Thursday Night Mowing League champion. I'm obligated to mention him anytime we talk about freshly mowed lawns. And yesterday's winner, and I want to talk about yesterday's poll for a second, Ron, was Lincoln Logs. And as we said, my girlfriend, it was her first attempt at, with just a little bit of guidance, crafting a poll. And she texted me. I sent it to you, Ron. She texted me after the show and said, oh my God, the look on Ron's face as he was looking at the poll, tried to assess probably why Dick Clark was there. What was your thoughts when you looked at that poll at first and you saw that the options were maybe a little aggressive, less aggressively good, maybe, than normal?
So the truth is I have not met your girlfriend, but everything you've said about her, I have a feeling I'm going to actually like her a lot. But my first thought when I saw that was, this is the worst poll he has ever put up. And I have zero idea who I'm going to pick. And I don't really have anything nice to say about any of them. And so I'm like, all right, well, Zingers is food, so I can do that. It was just, yeah.
And she was like, Ricky, don't do it. Because I was teasing her. She said Zingers and Dick Clark. And I was like, honey, you got to, maybe we need to aim a little bit higher. And then I was like, you know what? I'm like, let's leave them. It'll be funny. Let's just leave them in there. And then it led to an additional bonus poll that I did last night, asking whether people really liked Lincoln Logs or not, because she's not a Lincoln Logs fan. And I was like, Lincoln Logs were actually pretty fun. And she's like, no, they weren't that great. And I was like, well, let's settle it. Because one of the perks of being the Super 70 sports guy is I can ask any fucking question that pops into my mind. And within about 15 minutes, I'll have 3,000 or 4,000 opinions on the matter, Ron. So go ahead, take me through it, break it down, and tell me who's going to win and tell me who gets your vote.
Well, there's nothing to break down here. Reese's Cups is going to win by a mile, and that's what I picked.
Freshly mowed lawns second, you think?
Yeah. Lincoln
Logs last?
Yep.
Are Lincoln Logs going to crack 10%? Are they going to get above the Mendoza line?
It'll be close.
All right. Tim, before you, well, no, we'll just let Tim vote. Light that candle, Tim. See what we got here. There's only one way to find out. I can see that almost 5,000 votes have already been cast. So, Tim, adding a little drama as he likes to do. I know he's not going to vote for Lincoln Logs.
Oh, gosh, Lincoln Logs. Look at that.
Logs. Lincoln Logs is, wait a minute, Ron. Shaka Khan. Chaka Khan. Chaka Khan. Lincoln Logs is down there in Chaka Khan territory. Reese's Cups, 42%. Freshly mowed lawns is second, as projected.
Reese's didn't run away as much as I thought, though.
Lincoln Logs. Well, freshly mowed lawns and the Muppets are pretty well loved. Let's bring Tim in, get his thoughts on this. On Championship Friday. It's not really a Championship Friday now without bringing in the greatest producer in all the land. Oh my God, look at that.
It's a runaway.
Look at that. Even the rats are chiming in on this. He doesn't have a computer, but we know what that sweet bastard's vote is. And it is in fact a runaway with the Reese's Cups there. Look at him just gone. Tim? You voted for Reese's Cups. I got to be honest. I would have voted
Lincoln
for them
Logs
as well.
this morning. I went Lincoln Logs this morning, but for entertainment value,
just trying to help it out a little bit.
Yeah, 5.2. Yeah, such fond memories of Lincoln Logs. I don't remember them in the cylinder can, like you were saying, Ron. I remember them coming in a box. But yeah, poor showing.
Yeah, it was a cylinder back in the old days.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, look, let's have a little strategy discussion here. I've been flirting with the idea for a while of having a week where we go reverse, where we have four
why haven't we
things
done that
that are varying degrees of bad. Well, I'm just saying right here on the show, do we want to try that next week? Do we think it would work? What would that look like? Do you go four bad things and you pick the thing that's worse? Or do you go four bad things and you pick the thing that's least bad? Which one of those
the worst. You gotta pick
better?
the worst. So we'll do like AOC, okay. Sunny Hostin, Don Lemon, Joy Bear.
I just lost 500 X followers just from you saying that, Ron. Thanks a lot. I got people out there telling me that I'm a Nazi supporter. I didn't see that coming. You know, it's a pretty charged climate out there. I'm trying to bring us all together. I assume that everyone in the political spectrum can appreciate Reese's Cups. I'm trying to build.
So, like, what would you put on there? Would you put like spinach? Like, would you put like food, like spinach, Milli Vanilli, like stuff like that, like things that like the same categories that we
things
always
that
do,
suck.
but kind of the bad versions of them?
Yeah, you would just flip it like we're in Australia, and the water would circle out of the toilet the reverse way.
So instead of like
It's
Joe
just like
Montana, we do
Bizarro.
Spurgeon Wind.
Yeah. Yeah, it would just be like, yeah, Jamarcus Russell, spinach, going to the dentist. It'd be stuff like that.
I think you should do it at least
people
once.
could vote on that.
Yeah, we should try it. We should do a mush poll for sure. I would like us to crown a champion every month, though. I really would. I'd like to see us have a little tournament, and at the end of the year, we have the 12 winners from each month, and then crown a champion of the year.
So that's just the winner of each week.
Yeah, you'd be left with 4 weeks. So, 52 weeks, assuming Ricky's going to slave away 52 straight weeks here. You could take the extra 4 weeks and make it, your worst. So we have a quarterly worst vote each every 4 months there as well. I'm overthinking it, of course, but
yeah, it's a good concept. I wouldn't be against that. We could declare a champion. Tim, stick with us here for a second. Did you see this?
Let me ask you one other question. Yeah. You mentioned the toilet bowl water.
Yeah.
Is it true that below the equator it spins the other direction?
Yes.
It is. Excellent.
Yeah. I've never been below the equator, except for figuratively. But, Tim, I wanted to ask you here. Did you see this story, in-flight gambling? It may be a thing now. And I got a little too excited when I first heard about this story because I thought maybe I was going to get to play blackjack or roulette on the plane or something. Like, are they going to have video gambling on the back of the seats? Yeah, I'm like that would perk things up. I could make it from New York to LA with a little more enthusiasm if I'm gambling the whole way there.
Could you imagine if you could play video draw poker the entire flight and you actually could win money? That would be fantastic.
I'm saying, like, you get there, maybe you've won back your ticket.
Yeah.
You're just like, I just flew here for free. Let's fucking go. I think,
Dude,
maybe
you're
this is the
onto
first
something.
step.
Yeah, you're onto something.
This is definitely a good first step. I know they're trying it here in Connecticut. It's mostly for games and events, but look, they have it on, you could certainly take, certainly, as cruise ships and other modes of transportation. It would not shock me if you were able to spin the roulette wheel on the way to Vegas in the next 5 years. There's got to be a way. Certainly video, Ron.
I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, yeah, like video draw poker. Just imagine the back of your seat, video draw poker. You deposit however much you want, and then just like if you're in Vegas, you just sit. It would make time go so fast.
Swipe your card or whatever on it.
It would be
add
fantastic.
money just right there.
Oh,
and think of how much money that. Think about how much money that would generate. Give the airlines a cut. I don't see any downside to this whatsoever. No. It would pass the time nicely. Look, because I'm telling you, dudes, like once you get past 2 hours, that's about all I got, man. Like at that point, I start developing restless leg syndrome, whatever the fuck it is. I have it. I don't know what restless leg syndrome really feels like, but it's like, God, I start to get a little suffocated on an airplane once I get past that point. I think gambling would help me. Look, traveling by airplane is never easy. Mick Cronin, the head coach of the UCLA basketball program, is complaining about what it means for the UCLA team to be a part of the Big Ten. Remember when college conferences were actually geographically based, my friends? Not so much the case anymore, and there's some downside to that. There's a lot of money for UCLA in it, but it also means that he and his players are logging some serious frequent flyer miles. Let's take a listen to the frustrated Mick Cronin.
So much has been made about you guys going east. You just came back from a prolonged East Coast trip. Yeah. I'm wondering, have you seen anything from the teams that have to come out here and stay out here? Is there any kind of balance with that in terms of the wear and tear and just what you've seen on the court?
Wear and tear on them?
Yeah.
Is that a joke? Please tell me that's a joke.
Is it even comparable, is essentially what I'm trying to say.
Have you ever looked at the NBA stats and what the gamblers and all those people do on West versus East? Talk to Eric Musselman, ask him that question, who coached in the NBA. Good luck, West going East. Okay, and ask me UCLA's record east of the Mississippi in the last 20 years. Because when I got the job, I looked it up for scheduling purposes. It's under 500, okay? We have to go back 4 times Oh, the Big Ten teams get to come to Los Angeles where it's 70 degrees one time a year. They don't even have to switch hotels. We're 12 miles apart. Are you kidding me? Please tell me you're kidding me. Is this a plan? Is this a planted question? I mean, you cannot be serious with that. And meanwhile, we've seen the Eiffel Tower, or we've seen the Statue of Liberty twice in the last 3 weeks while we were landing. We also saw downtown. We also saw the Capitol building. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, you can't possibly. And we still got to go back, and then we got to go back for the Big Ten tournament. You can't possibly be serious.
Well, that's the thing. You have 4 more trips of those to make.
Yeah.
So
they do it one time. You can't possibly stop. I'm going to eat, man. You can't. I mean, he's asked me to feel sorry because Iowa had to come to LA for a few days.
All right, Ron. I love Mick Cronin, but at the same time, he's making it sound like they've got to go on the fucking Oregon Trail. He's like, we had to throw our power forward off in fucking Nebraska. I don't know the route of the Oregon Trail, so forgive me, historians, but my backup point guard has dysentery. But I do see his point, right? It's a trip to LA if you're from, Bloomington, Indiana. Shit, you're probably looking forward to it. But there's still a lot more teams on this side of the country in the Big Ten. So their thirst for profit and so forth is not necessarily what's best for their players.
If we want to have a little bit of sympathy for UCLA basketball and USC basketball and Washington and Oregon basketball, that's fine. But the real problem here, and nobody's talking about it because nobody cares. And, ultimately, as a sports fan, I don't care. But sometimes you got to think about everybody else. Dude, how about the cross-country team from Oregon who has to, on a Wednesday, go fly to do a cross-country meet with Maryland in a field and then go back? Like the Olympic sports and the sports, the non-revenue sports, it's insane that they have to be in the Big Ten. They should have done football, maybe men's and women's basketball, and then that's it. It's awful. These girls, these guys that play these not lesser sports, but non-revenue sports, a lot of times, man, they're picking the school that they go to because they want to be close to their family so their mom and dad and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and everybody can come see them play. Well, so a girl that decided to play softball for UCLA, who's from, I don't know, she's from, wherever, Orange County, and she's like, oh, my mom and dad are getting to see me play all the time. Now she's playing softball games at Rutgers.
Well,
and
dude,
State College.
I say
it's terrible.
Make conferences make sense again. Is all I'm saying. I remember when the Southeastern Conference meant you were from the Southeast. The Pac-10 meant you were from the Pacific Coast. The Sun Belt meant you were from the Sun Belt. Now that makes no sense whatsoever. The numbers that are on the conferences aren't the number of teams. It's you're trying to explain it to somebody who didn't know the history of collegiate conferences. There's absolutely zero of it in 2025 that makes any sense. And this doesn't make any sense either, but at least it's fun, Ron. Now, I've got an idea. Here, throw up the tweet. Take a look at this. I would watch a show. I would watch this show, by the way. This is my idea. Look, if Deion ever decides that he doesn't want to coach football anymore, call me, Deion. I've got an idea for a pilot. I would absolutely watch a show where Deion Sanders and the guy on the horse just travel around America solving crimes together and shit.
Ricky,
We're going to be talking some football next. You may be aware that there are NFL games, Ron, this weekend.
I was going to say, we could do that with a lot of schools. Yeah. What if we had like Brian Bosworth, go around the country on the wagon with the horse for Boomer Sooner? Like, you could do this for everybody.
I'll tell you what. Why don't we put those shows back to back and just stack the deck? It's going to be the best program. OutKick could start developing original programming. See, we could get into that. You're seeing all these different networks start doing things. All right. See, there you go. There's an idea. Clay Travis, are you watching? Think about it, Clay. Think about it. It's all I'm saying.
Hey, OutKick fans on YouTube, if you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button and make your way over to OutKick.com where you can watch the full episode.